So I'm in Texarkana today, and boy, maybe you just caught the lightning bolt behind me. I'm with this guy. Maybe you'll recognize him, Lamont at Large.
What's going on, everybody?
We have teamed up to do the Texarkana Moonlight Murders, and this weather that we're about to have is very fitting
for the
this.
video.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been 75 years since these murders took place. It is technically unsolved. There was 8 attacks, 5 resulting in the people's deaths. This guy with a pillowcase over his face would go around Texarkana waiting for couples that would go into these areas to make out or what have you.
Yeah, Lover's Lane murders.
Yeah, and a lot of people say it was an inspiration for the Zodiac Killer, who had a similar
same
makeup,
kind of MO, same
just
style.
Waiting for couples
Yep.
to come out to, lookout point or whatever.
So we're gonna see. I mean, it's like Lamont said, it's been 75 years. Things that were just little roads back then, little Lover's Lane back roads, are now main roads. But we're gonna see what it looks like now. This is gonna be interesting.
Let's go.
So this is the first of 4 attacks. Still dealing with these impending thunderstorms, but it's holding out for now. So this is the first location, basically. In 1946, it was a pretty quiet area, somewhat desolate. Now it's there's a lot going on, but you have to kind of picture what it was 75, 76 years ago. 25-year-old Jimmy Hollis and 19-year-old Mary Jean LeRae were in Jimmy's car when a flashlight shined in through the window. Apparently he had a pillowcase, what they thought was a pillowcase with holes cut out.
Originally, Jimmy thought it was a joke. Maybe one of his friends was playing a prank, because this is 1946. People aren't going around committing these kind of sick, heinous crimes. I mean, they are, but it's not like how it was later on.
Plus, this is a small town.
Yeah, this is a pretty small town, and you're thinking like, what are you doing? Get out of here! You got a pillowcase on your face.
Exactly. Yeah. Jimmy got out of the car, and for some reason this man demanded that he take his pants off, and either while doing that or just after that, he then hit him in the back of the head with the butt of his gun, like a...
Yeah, and I was thinking about it earlier. I think the reason why he told him to take his pants off is so when he was preoccupied, he can crack him over the head. And his girlfriend said that the crack was so loud, she actually thought it was a gunshot, but it was actually his skull fracturing.
Yeah.
That's how hard he hit him.
Yeah. Now she starts freaking out, and she's like, "We don't have any money. Look." And I guess she pulled Jimmy's wallet out of his pants, showed him, "We don't have any money." So at that point, this man then hit Mary Jean in the head, ordered her out of the car. He demanded that she run from him. So she ran, and he ran and caught up to her. And then he's like, why did you run from me? And she's like, because you told me to, So, yeah, it was very strange. She was sexually assaulted, and then she managed to get away. She went and found a nearby home to call the police. By that time, Jimmy Hollis had woken up from passing out, probably from being hit in the head so hard. And he also went and called the police. And this all happened somewhere in this area. Like I said, it was a pretty desolate road back in the day. It's hard to nail down exactly where everything happened. There was a recent release, FBI files, but even then, it's not very specific. They don't really tell exactly where things happened. It's not like they had GPS coordinates or anything like that. So the best we can give you is an approximation, and this is as good as any. So this area is right along Robinson Road. It's about 4 or 5 miles west and right along Highway 67. This is where 29-year-old Richard Griffin and 17-year-old Pollyanna Moore were found dead in their car. It was right around in this area. It was a passing motorist early in the morning, came by, saw the car, and called the police. It looked like they were in the car, but it looked like they were shot outside of the car and then put back into the car. Richard Griffin was kind of face down. He was in the front seat, kind of on his knees with his head resting on his hands. And she was just in the back seat, kind of. It looked like they had been kind of thrown in there. And judging by the angle of the bullet holes, they were both shot in the head, back of the head. It looked like they were outside of the car. I don't know if there was blood outside of the car, outside around the car. It could have happened at a different place. Who knows? The FBI feels like she was definitely shot outside the car and put back into the car, and that he possibly was still alive, although had being shot already, put into the car, and then the final blow, execution style, back of the head, once he was in the car.
That's what people said, and I was wondering how big or how strong this killer could be to take a dead human body from out of the car, shoot him, and then put him back into the car. It takes a pretty good amount of strength.
Maybe there was 2 people involved, and that's actually coming up soon, where one of the suspects possibly had, his girlfriend or his wife. You know what I mean?
Another aspect of this murder, not to put any blame on anybody, because it is the responsibility of a parent to take care of their children, but the girl was 17 and the guy was 29. Now, that's not to besmirch his name, but you got to think what the parent was thinking. It's like, that would really, if I were the father of that girl, I would really eat me up for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Maybe I should not have, or did it, who knows? Who knows if they even knew?
That's a very good point. They might not have known, and that's why they were kind of down in this, kind of lonely stretch of the road down here. Yeah, who knows?
It's kind of odd.
Across town, this is where the third attack kind of starts. This is what we believe is the old VFW building here in Texarkana. It's seemingly abandoned now, although the air conditioning's on and there's a crying puppy in there.
There's a couple puppies in there.
Yeah, it's a little weird. But anyway, 15-year-old Betty Jo Booker was playing in her band. What were they called? The Rhythmaires?
Yeah, the Rhythmaires.
And about 1 o'clock in the morning, her friend Paul Martin picked her up from here, and that was the last time anybody saw both of them alive. This is where Paul Martin's body was found, somewhere down this road. Some areas are more populated than others, but so what happened was they found his body on the side of the road, dumped. No car, no Betty Jo Booker. So at that point, a small search party was formed, and they started going around looking for, obviously, Betty Jo first, but then obviously the car as well.
Right.
Both were found not too far away. So somewhere in this area, again, these are all kind of an approximation, was where Betty Jo Booker's body was found. It took a little while because she was kind of found behind a tree. The interesting thing about her body was that although she was clothed when they found her, it looked kind of staged, kind of like maybe her clothes had been removed and then put back on. Her hand was kind of in the pocket of her.
Yeah.
It was a little strange. But I also want to mention that somewhere right around now, the hysteria was starting to take off. People were really getting afraid.
Yeah, this is the fourth murder.
Yeah. So now they know there's definitely something going on.
There's somebody coming out here killing people, and now, of course, and they're saying, like, lock your doors, make sure your windows are shut, all that stuff. I'm sure gun sales are going through the roof now.
They were absolutely going through the roof, as well as phone calls to the police departments. They were swamped. They could not keep up.
Oh yeah, because they're people are thinking, well, I know this creepy guy. My neighbor's a creep. My cousin's
Exactly.
weird. And
Yeah.
so they're getting besieged, which is kind of a lot of calls that people that are calling mean well, but they're really nonsense, and they're just taking up valuable resources and time away from detectives.
That's exactly what. They were definitely overrun. It was right around, somewhere around now, where the famous Texas Rangers came in to help with this investigation and help calm people down. It was getting crazy. Kids were going into these dark, lonely areas trying to be bait to try to catch this guy.
And that's helped because they had a reward. That was
equivalent to like $100,000 in today's money.
Yeah, so yeah, people wanting to make a couple dollars as well.
Yeah, but it was also a pretty dangerous situation. But and each of these attacks were probably they were between 3 and 4 weeks spaced apart, so they kind of knew what to expect. So these people would go out to these Lovers Lane areas and they would sit there and wait, or maybe be in the bushes.
Right.
So people were being used as bait. It's pretty crazy. So this is Spring Lake Park. This is where Paul Martin's car was found after they found Betty Jo Booker's body and Paul Martin's body. So nobody really knows if they possibly came here first and then they were murdered and maybe their bodies were moved, or if they were killed elsewhere and the killer moved the car and ditched it in this area.
Right.
So what happened was a cop, I don't know if he was a rookie cop or one of these cops, noticed that during one of these murders, they noticed a car that had been reported stolen was ditched nearby, somewhere nearby the murders. And he said, well, maybe the killer is using the cars.
Right.
So that, I think, made them start thinking, like, maybe something's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, a stolen car isn't necessarily going to make you think, like, oh, this is obviously was used in the murders, but I think they're really just grabbing at straws at this time.
Yeah, they're just spitballing ideas. Anything that might stick, any kind of idea they might have, they're going to go with. This brings up kind of an idea that a lot of people, probably one of the main suspects, actually, this guy named Yule Swinney. So I think about a month after the fourth attacks, which we haven't gotten there yet, but there was another reported stolen car that was found. One of the police found it. He decided to kind of sit back and wait. This woman named Peggy Swinney came back to the car. She was promptly arrested.
Correct.
And there's this whole thing about that was her husband. They had just gotten married. She actually said that he had admitted that he did the murders and that he was stealing cars and going to sell them outside of the city. So he wasn't even there then.
No.
He comes back a couple of days later. He gets arrested and ends up, he went to jail for how long?
I think he did 25 or 26 years for habitual car theft.
But originally they got him life, right? Life in prison.
Yeah, Texas did not play. They still continue to not play, but back then, yeah, when you were committing crimes, you were going to do a lot of time.
It was weird. While he was arrested for car theft, he even asked the cops, do you think I'll get the electric chair for this?
Yeah, the electric chair for car
Which
theft.
is a little weird.
Which is weird, yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you say something like that if you just stole a car?
Yeah.
Unless he was joking.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Because he probably already knows he's going up the river for quite some time.
And Peggy actually says that he had admitted doing the murders, and she had a lot of information that only a murderer would know.
The scene would know.
To the point where she possibly could have been kind of like the getaway driver, where she was sitting in one of these stolen cars waiting for Yule to come back and jump in the car and they would take off. They had been married just shortly before they were both arrested. And oddly enough, after he was arrested, the murders stopped.
Yeah.
And nothing had ever happened again.
There's no definitive proof that he was actually the killer, but it's just kind of strange how all of a sudden the murder stopped as soon as he went to prison, and you happen to have a car that was stolen by him within a general vicinity of where two murders occurred.
Exactly. Strange. So by now, like we said, things are crazy. The Texas Rangers are out. Everybody's hunting for this killer. And he's forced to change how he's doing things. People are no longer hanging out at these lonely little roads and lovers lanes. No one's doing that. So no one's out.
Everybody's on high alert for this guy.
Exactly.
And he's probably going around, and everything is hot in Texarkana, so he takes a little drive.
Yeah. And this is where the fourth attack happens, fourth and final, about 10 miles outside of Texarkana. This little farmhouse, 500-acre farm. The house is gone, but this is the property. This is where it happened. Virgil and Katie Starks. Virgil's 37, Katie was 30. Husband and wife at home one evening. Katie hears a noise outside on the porch. She calls out to Virgil, and right then Virgil gets shot through the window twice and dies right there on the chair as he was relaxing. So there's this whole scuffle that ensues, where the killer was actually trying to get inside and actually tearing at the screen and trying to get in to kill her. And he did shoot her.
Yeah, she got shot in the mouth.
She got shot in the mouth and ran out of the house. I think she went to the
she
neighbor's
ran about
house.
50 yards across the way to the neighbor's house. She was banging on the door for help. You can only imagine if that bullet would have gone like an inch up, higher or lower.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as it was, I think it was like she actually had the bullet lodged.
I think it knocked out some of her teeth.
Yeah, oh yeah, knocked out her teeth. It was a crazy situation. But this is where it happened. Now, she survived, and ultimately, 8 people were attacked. 5 of those people, unfortunately, died, and then the 3 people survived to tell these crazy stories. That was it for the attacks, the fourth and final. And that's what I was saying before, that it's a little strange that once he was arrested, the attack stopped. So who knows? Now, there were a lot of other suspects. One that sticks out for sure was H.B. Doody Tennyson. Doodie was a nickname. And he was a strange character, local guy, and he ended up committing suicide, and he left a suicide note talking about admitting to killing those people.
And saying the reason why he took his own life is because he said, we'll quote, you would too if you committed 2 double murders. But he had mental illness.
Yeah, there was something going on with him, and he had made claims like that before about other things.
His mother also said that during the night of one of the murders, the homicides, that weren't they together watching?
That's what she says. Yeah.
Like that? And also in the note, if somebody really committed any of these crimes, they would have said some stuff in the letter that only the killer and the police would know.
Yeah. So who knows? Nobody knows. I personally feel that it was probably Yul Swinney, just because it was just strange that all of a sudden the murder stopped as soon as he was arrested for the car theft.
And he did many years in prison. Gets out as an old man, and anybody that would try to track him down for a interview, he would always vehemently deny that he was the guy. So
who knows?
Who knows what happens?
They'll probably never know. But this is really what's left of the locations. Not much, unfortunately, but the story is fascinating. This is supposedly where the idea of that style of movies came from, where the lover's lane, the kids are up there and they get murdered. This was the real life version. Pretty incredible to come and see all these locations. Yeah, it always is. But it's getting late. We dodged the thunderstorms.
Yeah.
So that was good. But we're going to get out of here. Go plot our next video. Who knows where it's going to be. But thanks to Lamont at Large for accompanying me and helping me find these cool locations. And see you in the next video.
Peace.
Thanks for watching.